All right, let's jump right into taking a look at AirCastPro 3. So, looking at the AirCastPro 3 general settings page, it should look very familiar. If you're an AirCastPro user, it's pretty much the layout is nearly identical with a couple of interface tweaks to update things. Right off the bat, though, you may notice a few things. Specifically, the attached drive section. We've added USB flash drive photo uploads. And with all of the new features that we've packed into AirCastPro 3, instead of cluttering up the interface, we decided to move quite a bit of the access to a comprehensive navigation menu to make it easier to find the items that you need to get to as quickly as possible. So before we get into the navigation menu or anything else, let's go ahead and plug in a printer. I have a DNP DS620 here loaded with 6x8 media. So let's plug it in and take a look at the auto discover that happens with AirCastPro 3. So while this auto then there we go. There's the DNP DS620 printer instance being installed. Now you see a couple of others. One of the significant differences between AirCastPro 2 and AirCastPro 3, outside of the interface changes and some of the features we've added, you will have the benefit of additional print speed, up to 30% in some cases. So now that we have our printer instances installed, our default setting very different from AirCastPro 2 in the sense where AirCastPro 2 would install a single printer instance. So that being the first difference you will notice when you plug in your printer. Now I have 6x8 media installed, so we have a lot of potential print sizes at our disposal, as opposed to a 6x4 media, which would typically show your DS620 and a DS620 2x6x2 option, and that's it. So along with the installed instances of our DS620, you'll see right next to the printer name, these print size indicators. This represents the current page size selected. So what we've done is, and it's become a bit of a hassle to go in, especially if you have multiple print sizes or you need to change. Well, where did I leave the print size? Well, now at a glance, without going in and editing the printer, now you can just take a peek and you can see exactly what print size that you've selected. Further to the right is the media level. In this case, I have a brand new media kit installed. So I have all my prints still left on the ribbon. And you see the solid blue circle. As you print, what will happen is we've switched from the gauge to a sort of a pie representation. So you'll start to see white space tick away within the circle as you use media. Okay, so let's talk about the installed instances in AirCastPro. Again, we've moved from the single instance to multiple instances for the default install for a very good reason. Some of you who've done event work with iOS 16 with AirCastPro 2 might have noticed that in your print dialog, it would show your paper size. So if you were printing a 6x8, it would reflect in your print size on iOS that the 6x8 was your selected choice. Actually, it would show you 6x8 as the only choice, or whatever the print size that you're using. Now, the one problem with iOS printing or AirPrint printing in general is that there's no way to represent cut sizes. For instance, your photo strips, your 2x6x2, there's no way to represent that as a print size in iOS. iOS just refuses to recognize the cut sizes. So to iOS, a 2x6x2 print, to iOS, it would be a 4x6. Okay, so that presents a problem if you need to select print sizes, which iOS 16 allowed you to do. Fast forward to iOS 17, which has had a bit of a rough start. We are now in, at the time of this recording, we're in iOS 17.4. 17.4 finally fixes a lot of the AirPrint printing issues. In particular, showing generic sizes for your print sizes, which can be a problem because basically 4x6 is one of the generic sizes. But if you wanted to do a 6x6 or 6x8 or 8x10 or whatever the case, if it's not, it's not a 4x6 or letter size, it presented a problem where your print may not have been cropped precisely as you would expect it. But now with iOS 17.4, that problem has been corrected, which brings me to one of the new features, print features in AirCastPro 3. And throughout this video, I'll be skipping around sections in the navigation menu. But let's jump to the advanced section and go into global settings. We have two settings: install single print instance. Okay, so that should be kind of common sense. If you're an AirCastPro user, you can set the behavior like it was in AirCastPro 2, where you plug in a printer, it brings up a single printer instance, you edit the printer as you like. If you need to add a new printer instance, you can manually do it. That ability still stands, but by default, we've gone to installing several instances, which will make more sense once we cover this print size override feature. Now, this is a pretty cool feature that you can use in iOS 16 and iOS 17.4 or later, once it's released, where in your print dialog box, you can actually select the print size that you want. So let's say we have, and I'll go ahead and save this. So our DS620 is set to, by default, to print 6x8. Well, and I'll pull up my phone to go ahead and reflect all that we're doing here. So what you can do is, if you pull up your print size in iOS, we'll go ahead and we'll select the DS620. Okay, and if you hit paper size, you have all of a sudden all of these print options. iOS 17.4 will actually read the available print sizes that you have at your disposal. So in this case, we have 3.5 by 6, 3.8 by 6, which is actually closer to 3 3/4, but that's another story. 4 by 6, 4.5 by 6, 6 by 14, 6 by 16, so on and so forth. Bottom line is, you're able to select all of the whole page's size and change up your print size on the fly by using the paper size, or as a photo booth app, you can send your photo with the particular page size without the need to change the printer. Okay, and that's with the whole sizes. we've gone ahead for you and created these printer instances. Basically, what will happen is, well, let's look in the case of, let's do something a little more, well, not completely complicated, but a little more. The 6x2x4. So 4 photo strips. Okay, so the page size is actually, that's a 6x8 page size that will be cut into 4 photo strips. Okay, so iOS sees it as a 6x8 page. AirCastPro says, okay, great. It's preset as a 6x2x4 and does the cuts for you. End of story. How you would recognize these cut strip settings is in the printer instance name. So if you're doing photo strips or your combo prints, you would just go by the printer instance and select it, and AirCastPro will take care of the rest for you. Now, if you may have noticed, there are a couple of sizes in here that are brand new. These are panoramic sizes, brand new to AirCastPro 3. And as far as I know, unique to, well, to most everyone but Windows users of the DS620 Citizen CX02, Citizen CX02W, and the DS820. I believe DMP only provides a Windows option, a separate piece of software to do panoramic prints on Windows only. So if you're a Mac user, you've been out of luck, and definitely iOS and Android users, no go on panoramic prints. But yeah, AirCastPro 3 finally brings panoramic printing to the CX02, the DS620, CX02W, and the DS820. Also included is the, if I remember correctly, the Mitsubishi CP D90. We also support panoramic prints with the Primera IP60 inkjet printer as well. And not to exclude the QW410 or the Citizen CZ01, which does the 4.5x8. We call them pocket panos. They're basically mini panoramic prints. But those were available through AirCastPro 2 as well. So that's new. You have your panoramic prints first on AirCastPro 3. And again, as far as I know, pretty much anywhere on any platform, with the exception of Windows with a print utility. We do have, while we're on the subject of panos, now the panoramic prints we're talking about, what you would expect, are continuous panos, which basically means it's just one large print that you end up with. We also include something, again, brand new, and I believe only available on AirCastPro, is frame panos. What this does, instead of doing your continuous panel where the image is stitched neatly together over your print, a frame panel will break it up into panels. We have the 6x8 media installed, so if we chose a 6x16 frame panel, basically that's 2 6x8 panels split by basically a white line, a division. The 6x24 would be 3 6x8 panels. And again, the same would apply to the 820 or the CW02W with 8x10 media, 8x12 media. You have 2 and 3 panel differences with the frame prints. So, but why would you want white space dividing up your panoramas? What sense does that make? Well, if you've seen home decoration shows, craft suggestions where you'll see people framing photos on the wall or a large photo amongst several frames, giving like a window appearance with the photos. Well, that's basically what the frame panels are. It just makes it easier to cut. Using the frame panels makes for a very unique product for your event business, where you can present a customer with these frame panels in picture frames, or give the customer the option to do that. Corporate events, it's a neat idea, and definitely worth including. So let's go ahead and close that out. So we've covered basically why we need to do the printer instances with the cut sizes and combos. The iOS 17.4 fix, which hopefully by the time you view this video, iOS 17.4 will be out. If not, we expect it should be out hopefully before the end of February. Okay, let's jump to another new feature in AirCastPro 3. That's the USB drive printing, which you would see activated under the attached drives menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a USB flash drive that I have some images loaded up. This would be ideal for events that require a roaming photographer going around the event, taking photos, and then needing to provide prints shortly thereafter. So basically, the photographer could offload their media card to AirCastPro to instantly print to a printer of your choice. So let me go ahead and load in this flash drive. Okay, so I've gone in and I've plugged in the flash drive, and you can see drive roamer, 10 images found. So it scanned the drive and determined that it can read 10 photos that it found on the drive. Now, that's about all it's going to do, unless you select your printer, which I've gone ahead and paused the DS620. So I don't burn through prints, and so you can see these images load up in the queue. So let's go ahead, select the 620, and the USB flash reader will start cycling through the photos on the flash drive and start to print. So there we go. We're counting down 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth, and you can see them loading up in the queue right now. And when this is complete, the USB flash drive will eject, which it just did. So now we can safely remove it. There we go. Everything's coming in nicely. I'll go ahead and remove this card in the meantime. Drive. So there, we should be at 10. So let's go ahead and cancel these print jobs, because we don't need to actually print them right this second. So in the reprint window, you can see the drives have been processed and everything is looking good. The USB flash printing supports a whole handful of media format. Everything from HFS, HFS Plus, which is a couple of Apple's formats, NTFS for Windows, the FAT32, which is also Windows, but also reflects many media cards that you may have, be it SD cards, micro SD. And of course, the Windows FAT32 Extended, which allows for larger storage capacity for flash media. So there we have it. That's the USB flash drive printing. All right, now we have some prints loaded in to AirCastPro that we see in the reprint. Let's go over to another new feature to AirCastPro 3, the slideshow. If you pull up the slideshow controls in the navigation menu, you'll see you have a handful of options. The photo frame size, well, the photo frame itself, excuse me. The frame, this would be a frame with a shadow, and the frame would basically be a thin white border with a slight drop shadow. The next option would be the white frame alone without a drop shadow. And of course, one without the white frame with a drop shadow. So let's just go with the defaults for the moment. You have a selection of colors for your background that you can select. You also have an option to resize the incoming photos that are represented in the slideshow window. So if you have a very big high resolution monitor or a large monitor with a high resolution, you can bump the size of these images up that show in the slideshow, or reduce them if you have a lower resolution monitor that you're using. Let's go ahead and save that. Now, with the AirCastPro slideshow, you have two options to connect to the slideshow. One, you can use an HDMI cable, plug directly into AirCastPro, and attach that to a computer monitor or TV screen. Once you boot up AirCastPro, the slideshow will show immediately on that monitor. Or two, the second option would be to connect remotely from any device on the network that has web browser support. So as an example, let's go to AirCastPro. So AirCastPro.local loads the general settings page. But if you add /slideshow, it should bring up the AirCastPro 3 slideshow, which there we go. And nice, it's showing a good photo size. Let's bring this over here so we can do a little bit of a split. And it's cycling through about 5 seconds per slide. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of our other options. Let's get rid of the white frame and let's just try a drop shadow. Let's go to, I don't know, let's try pink. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it took about a cycle to update, but there you go. We have no more white frame. We still have a drop shadow and the pink background. So let's go again. Let's choose, I don't know, the teal with just the white frame. So let's see. Should cycle. And there we go. We have the color change and we have the frame change. Now, you have the ability to run as many slideshows as you wish. You can use a combination of the HDMI port on AirCastPro and have a slideshow running there attached to your AirCastPro. You can connect with several computers all over your event and display the slideshow in different locations, or iPads, or a smart TV that has a web browser capability. It's really a choice. But so far as the wireless systems coming in to view the slideshow, you can use as many as you'd like. There is no limit. All right, so let's jump into another feature of AirCastPro 3, and that would be the user photo upload. You can enable users, your guests, to upload their own images for print. You can designate the printer to where they would upload to, and you could also set a limit on the uploads. The way this works is AirCastPro will use cookies to track the amount of photos that are being uploaded by the user. The cookie set will expire once the browser is quit. So that means a user can close the page, leave their browser open, do other stuff on their phone, come back to the browser and try to access the page again. And they will not be able to upload if they've reached their limit. So let's go ahead. We'll set the upload limit to 3. And let's open the new browser window and go to aircastpro.local/upload. And there you see I could upload 3 photos. So let me go ahead and pull up some test photos. And I'm just going to, well, let's drag 2 over to start with. Okay, so instead of using a dialog, if you press the plus sign, dialog would open, allows you to browse and select your images. I just decided to do a drag and drop for the moment. So once you're ready to upload your images that you've selected, just press upload. There we go. If processed, and our count lets us know how many left. We have 2 photos left. And there's our 2 images printing. Let's take a look in the reprint. Okay, there's the 2 new images. I'll just leave them in the queue for the moment. We'll go back and we'll do the final upload. And there we go. The final upload is complete. I've used the allotted 3 photos that had been set, and it won't let me upload any further. So let's close this browser window. Okay, we have the 3 prints, so I'm going to just go ahead and cancel these for now. All right, so now you've run your event, you've printed all of your prints, and the customer wishes to have an archive of the photos that you printed, or that were sent for print at the end of the event. AirCastPro 3 has an very easy way of doing that. If you go to the AirCastPro navigation menu and then go down to Archive Photos, tap on it, create a downloadable zip archive, and it tells you how many photos that can be archived, basically all the photos that we printed. Let's go ahead and click Create. Tells us it's being processed. And there we go. A link just appeared down below the printer queue where we can click and download the photo archive that we just created. Okay, so there we go. It's asking if I'd like to download. So let's go ahead and say allow. And we've just downloaded a zip file of the photos we've printed. Now, once we've downloaded and you want to get rid of this link for any reason, we go back into Archive Photos, delete archives, and that link will disappear along with that zip file. So even though we've deleted the archive file, your photos are still intact. And you can see through the reprint section. Now what happens is it will start deleting photos that are 24 hours old or older. Now that doesn't mean you have to wait for AirCastPro to clean up after your event. You can hit the delete all and wipe out all the photos once you're done and once you've downloaded your archive. And I think that pretty much wraps up the first look at AirCastPro 3. Of course, there are several more detailed features that you will be able to find online in the form of video tutorials in our knowledge base at aircastpro.com. I want to thank you for joining us today on our AirCastPro 3 launch. We hope to see you soon, and we hope you enjoy using AirCastPro.